My name is KayLene. I'm 37 years old, and exactly 1 week ago, my divorce became final. I need you to really hear what I'm about to say, because it might save you years of your life. Not because my story is dramatic or scandalous, but because it's ordinary. And that's exactly why it matters. January 1st, 2026. That was the date on the papers. My ex-husband, Matt, asked for that specific day so we could file taxes jointly one last time. He owns a small business, and it would save him money. I agreed. Even at the end, we were still making small compromises. That's how reasonable we were, how civilized, how completely and devastatingly disconnected. The divorce was my decision, a full leap of faith. I'm a mom to a 4-year-old daughter. I hadn't worked in years. I'm a registered nurse, but I quit during the pandemic to get pregnant. We didn't need my income. Matt was successful. We were comfortable, more than comfortable. On paper, I had everything: a beautiful child, financial security, a husband who wasn't cruel or abusive or unfaithful. And I walked away anyway. Most people don't understand that. When I told friends and family, I could see the confusion in their eyes. They were waiting for the other shoe to drop. There had to be something, right? Some betrayal, some dark secret. But there wasn't. And somehow, that made it even harder to explain. It started falling apart when my daughter was born. The pregnancy was easy. The birth was easy. I was lucky in ways I couldn't even count. Truly blessed. But the moment she arrived, something inside me shattered. Postpartum anxiety came like a flood. I'd always been an anxious person, but motherhood amplified it to levels I didn't know existed. I went into full control mode. I stopped trusting myself entirely. I handed my power over to books, articles, expert opinions, anything that promised to tell me how to be a good mother. Sleep became impossible. Not because my daughter didn't sleep, she was a typical newborn, giving me 3 to 4 hour stretches, but because I couldn't let go. I'd lie awake beside her bassinet, staring into the darkness, completely alert. I'd only pass out from pure exhaustion, maybe for an hour, before she woke again to feed. Matt was oblivious, not out of malice, out of disconnection. He didn't trust his own intuition either. He told himself he was doing his job. He was the provider. He was present. He was making money. In his mind, that was enough. He couldn't see me drowning, and I didn't know how to ask for help. When I did try, my tone was sharp, judgmental. I chipped away at his confidence without meaning to. He felt desperate too. He didn't know how to reach me. And somewhere along the way, we lost each other completely. We became less than roommates. It took a full year before I started to feel like myself again. I'd been in therapy the entire time, except for a 6-week break right after giving birth. Those sessions, my ability to work on myself during that first year, were the greatest gift Matt ever gave me. He never knew it. He never understood how much they saved me. After my daughter turned 1, I made it my mission to save the marriage. I worked relentlessly with my therapist to become a better partner. Motherhood was slowly growing on me, and I believed I finally had the capacity to be a better wife. For 2 more years, I tried everything. Therapy, together and apart, every book, every technique, every compromise. And eventually, I had to face the truth I'd been avoiding. My marriage was over. I was emotionally exhausted, physically depleted. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My body began screaming at me in the only language it had. I got sick again and again. Ear infections so painful I ended up sobbing in urgent care. I was beating a dead horse, and my body was begging me to wake up. There was no intimacy left between us. The love I felt for Matt had shifted into something familial, like the love you have for a brother or a parent. Warm but distant, safe but empty. Asking for the divorce was the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought it would destroy me. From the outside, it looked insane. Matt was supportive. He adored our daughter. He made great money. He was funny and kind in public. We had stability. We had a nuclear family. Why would anyone walk away from that? Then my therapist asked me a question I'll never forget. Would you rather your daughter grow up in one home with married parents who love her but aren't happy, or two homes with divorced parents who are both happy? She was right. I was deeply, painfully unhappy, and if my daughter grew up watching me with her father, she would learn that this was what relationships looked like. No intimacy, no affection, no warmth, no touching, no hugging, no kissing. And I couldn't teach her that love was supposed to feel empty. No small moments of affection, just coexistence. I wanted so much more for her. I wanted her to know a beautiful kind of love, the kind with hand-holding and small kisses for no reason, the kind that brings joy and intimacy, not just stability. Matt and I couldn't give her that example together. I am now legally divorced, 7 months separated, and I can't fully explain the happiness and self-fulfillment I've already found. It's still new, still tender, but I feel like a different person, a more honest one. I see Matt thriving too. We've kept a friendship, an amicable separation. That has been a profound blessing for everyone, especially our daughter. I'm excited about my future again. I see Matt excited about his, and our daughter is thriving. I'll always be grateful to him for what he provided, for giving me the time to raise her without working. Those years with her were one of the greatest gifts of my life. I'll return to work soon to support myself and my daughter. She turned 4 last September. She may never remember that quiet season we had together, but I will. I'll carry it forever. Here's what I need you to understand. Leaving a marriage doesn't have to come from catastrophe. It doesn't require cheating or abuse or lies or financial ruin. Sometimes it's the right decision simply because you want to be loved, really loved, not just tolerated, not just appreciated, not just provided for. Loved. That's why I left, and it has been the best decision of my life. I truly believe my daughter will grow up with 2 happy divorced parents. She'll see real intimacy, real affection, real partnership when we both find it again, and that is worth everything. People ask me if I have regrets, if I'm scared, if I wonder what would have happened if I'd just stayed. The answer is no, not for a second, because I know exactly what would have happened. I would have stayed small, stayed quiet, stayed disconnected from myself and from the possibility of real love. I spent years trying to make it work. I gave it everything I had. There is peace in that. No guilt. I know I tried, and I know when to stop trying. My daughter deserves a mother who is whole, who is happy, who shows her what it looks like to choose yourself when you need to, not selfishly, but courageously. She deserves to see that staying isn't always the brave choice. Sometimes leaving is. I'm building a new life now, one where I get to decide what I want, where I rediscover who I am outside of being someone's wife. I'm terrified sometimes, unemployed with a 4-year-old, starting over at 37. It's not exactly the dream, but it's mine. It's real, and it's full of possibility in a way my marriage never was. The first few months after I moved out were the strangest. I'd wake up in my new apartment and forget where I was. Everything felt lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because I could finally breathe, heavier because I was facing the unknown alone. I had to learn to be just me again, not Matt's wife, not defined by what we were or weren't, just KayLene. Some nights, when my daughter was with Matt, I'd sit in the quiet of my empty apartment and wonder if I'd made a terrible mistake. The doubts would creep in. And then I'd remember what it felt like to live in that house, the loneliness of sleeping beside someone and feeling completely alone, the ache of wanting to reach out and stopping myself because I knew the touch wouldn't mean anything. That loneliness was far worse than being alone. So I started doing small things for myself, things I hadn't done in years, long walks without watching the clock, books that had nothing to do with parenting or marriage or fixing myself, sitting in coffee shops, simply watching people. I was getting to know myself again, and I realized I liked who I was becoming. If you're in a relationship that feels empty, even if nothing is technically wrong, listen to that feeling. Don't wait for the catastrophe. Don't wait for permission. Your unhappiness is reason enough. Your desire for more is valid. Your need for intimacy, connection, and real partnership matters. I wasted years believing I needed a better reason to leave. I told myself I was ungrateful, selfish, dramatic. I told myself I should be happy because others had it worse. That thinking kept me stuck, and it almost broke me. You don't need permission to want more from your life. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need the courage to take the leap. This space is full of people like me, sharing hard truths.